Cardiac rehabilitation for me is ever so important. We know that cardiology works, we know it can save life, but in actual fact cardiac rehabilitation is the thing that leads to long-term lifestyle changes, which we know leads to better outcomes in terms of a patient's health. It's about partnership, it's about sharing goal setting, and it's about thinking over the long term. And this is what cardiac rehabilitation does best. We know that patients who go through cardiac rehabilitation will have a 26% reduction in mortality in anything from 2 to 3 years. That is second to absolutely nothing. It's one of the best and most cost-effective interventions we have, and what we need is more of it.
I think one of the important things is to ensure that every individual who has a cardiac event or a heart attack, such as myself, gets individual support to ensure that they're on the right cardiac rehab programme for them, and that's almost immediately after their heart attack, but also that's sustained.
For me, cardiac support groups are essential. We know that cardiac rehabilitation, particularly the exercise part of it, leads to substantial changes in people's fitness, a sense of well-being. But as soon as that is stopped, we know that the benefits start to be lost very, very quickly. So phase 4, the idea of continuing cardiac rehabilitation and delivering it over the long term, is absolutely vital. And for me, one of the best ways of delivering that is in a social context. And for me in England, one of the best examples of this is cardiac support groups.
For just over a year now, we've been running a voluntary group in Barnsley called Barnsley Hearts of Oak. And it's set up as a heart failure support group. But a lot of the people there suffer also from heart attacks. One of the best things about it is it's very well attended and well supported, and lots of social activities, and we have a regular core of members of about 30 each month. What I get from it is a feeling of well-being, because no matter how bad you feel or how rough the day's been, actually it's amazing how many people are worse than you are. And sharing that experience is extremely useful.
Support groups exist for the benefit of local people, but there is an apparent reluctance to recognise the role of support groups and to integrate them into the overall cardiac rehab service in a more formal way. Adopting a partnership approach will be mutually beneficial. We should work together to help people to help themselves in a way that meets all of their needs. People are supported locally to make lifestyle changes that will have a positive impact on their health and well-being over the long term.
I think there's a need as well for some psychological counselling support for people, particularly after a period of time, after your heart attack. There are issues around what's happened to you, what's happening to the people around you that aren't picked up by anybody. And in our group, I think we support each other.
First of all, I'll tell you about Heartbeats. Now, Heartbeats is a self-help group that we started earlier this year to take people from phase 3 into exercise and fitness for the rest of their lives. It's important that we do talk about the rest of their lives, because I think there's a view at the moment that it's 10 weeks and then that's your rehab done. It isn't. It goes on and on and on.
Funding is another big issue, sustained funding. It's cheaper in the long run to fund a cardiac rehab programme than to fund a second heart attack, for instance. So we have to make sure that groups such as ours, the Sheffield Coronary Society, we struggle to get funds and we have to apply for grants when in fact our fitness instructor, for instance, is not funded anymore. So we have to self-fund, and this will put people off.
What should really happen is that people should be launched into rehab direct from phase 3 to become self-motivated and do what suits them for the rest of their lives. They should get help in phase 3 to decide what it is, but then should be able to come direct to Heartbeats or other self-help group. And it's that area where I think there needs a lot of improvements in terms of motivation of them and telling them exactly what's available, how to access it, who to access it with, and for the self-help groups to help them in coming along and getting started.
I think the long-term maintenance of healthy lifestyles, and if we think particularly about physical activity and exercise, what we have to do is bear in mind this idea of long-term and how challenging it is for people to maintain something over the long term. And we know what's pivotal to that is genuine choice. And I think this is one of the reasons that cardiac support groups are extremely useful.
Not all people who could benefit are offered cardiac rehabilitation. For example, heart failure patients. Differences in service provision exist within the North Trent region itself, and this postcode lottery is happening up and down the country. I am one of the lucky ones who got cardiac rehabilitation.